question becomes, what should our policy be? How can the government prevent this? And I was also dismayed when I saw after this first started a bunch of shrimp boats being sent out to sort of gather up the oil. There was nothing done to deploy the Coast Guard until, 2 to 3 weeks into the process. The Dutch, as you say, had made these offers. And if you think back to the oil spill that took place up in the Welday, you know, what came from that were a lot of entrepreneurs who went out and invested money and came up with technologies to deal with oil spills of all kinds of magnitude. But we ran into an administration that first said, okay, well, BP is going to handle it, and we won't do anything. And then they realized that the government needed to mobilize. By that time, the bureaucracy was tied up in knots, and here we are today with the problem still existing. And so what the federal government has to say is, what will our approach be? We've got to have a plan in place that can be moved immediately. If nothing else, you know, they ought to be on day one, on hour one, deploying the resources of the Environmental Protection Agency, okay? We have an EPA. What do they do? This isn't, I mean, they ought to be blowing up buses in Washington and sending these people down to the Gulf if that's what they're there for. That hasn't been done. You know, it's interesting. I just wonder what the hue and cry would be if George Bush were president, of course. Now, I still didn't say it's all George Bush's fault, you know, those poor people down on the Gulf Coast, but that's a key issue. Other questions? Yes.
Paul, I have concerns about all of the SARs that Obama has put in place. And I understand that other presidents have had SARs, but this is, to me, way over the moon.
Sure.
Thank you. Excessive.
It's funny you mention that.
Yeah, okay.
Because, you know, I carry this around. There's a copy of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. I looked at it. I didn't see the word czar mentioned one time. I didn't see the president having the power to appoint unconfirmed, omnipotent leaders in areas. Because we have a payroll czar. You know, so if you're going to work for General Motors or Chrysler, you've got to meet the requirements of the newly appointed pay czar. Of course, who also has the auto czar, who deals with the community effectiveness czar. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. There is absolutely no constitutional authority to do this, but it's the way to bypass the process and put your people in place because people are policy. The consequences of last November's election are fully coming home. What was that? What did Jeremiah say? The chickens are coming home to roost? Well, that's for sure. He was right about that. This is what we have today. I think Congress also has to take a lead in using its authority to not fund these things. It has to go into this budget on constitutional basis. Forget the debt, we've talked about that in a minute, but on this basis, as long with health care and other things, and say, no, we're not going to give you the money to deploy this army of unconfirmed czars that you want to put in place.
So that would have been my question is, what can Congress and Congressmen do to stop this misuse of power? Because that's what I believe it is.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, again, it all depends on who has the votes in Washington. You see, you know, with Democrats controlling the committee process, controlling the votes on health care. Every Republican amendment to the health care bill was defeated on party line vote. In fact, there was one amendment offered by Tom Coburn in the Senate that said, in this health care bill, we want to ensure that sex offenders can't get Viagra paid for. That got voted down by the Democrats because even one amendment would break the chain. So we've got to, first of all, some more like-minded people go in January 11th in each one of these committees and understand what our responsibilities are. Cut the size of government, reduce government spending, and focus on those areas where the extra constitutional efforts of this administration have overextended their authorities. We'll come back to around. Yes, go ahead.
I know you probably will not achieve a majority. How can a minority slow it down?
Well, we might. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm an optimist. When your name is Welday, you've got to be an optimist, okay? So that I am. I believe in the House we are going to take the majority. I don't know as much about the Senate, but things look pretty good there. But even if we don't take a majority, we'll have a working majority because I'm convinced there's going to be some of those Democrats, particularly those Southern Democrats, who are going to see the light, if not feel the heat, and we'll be able to put together those coalitions on the floor. Here's the problem. If the Democrats still have a majority, they'll be able to keep Barney Frank as the the chairman of the Financial Services Committee, and the rest of these guys leading that committee process. So majority is very, very important on that basis. Pelosi would still be speaker. They'll dictate the agenda. So yes, it'll strengthen our hands, but unless we have a real majority, we can't put forward an
Can you
agenda.
slow it down?
Yes, we can. We can certainly slow it down. We can slow it down. But I'm convinced we have to do more than slow it. We have to slow it down, but we have to do more. We have to reverse course wherever possible. And that's why this district is so important. I mean, my goodness, if Oakland County, if this 9th congressional district cannot send a common sense conservative Republican to Washington, who the heck can? This is an area that has been represented by the likes of George Dondero and Bill Broomfield and Joe Nolenberg for many years. And then, of course, the tidal wave of 2008 came along, and Joe Nolenberg, a very decent, honest, sincere man, was brought out of office. Now we have an opportunity to change that. And if we don't change it now, not just the problems immediately, but I assure you that Gary Peters will probably be here forever.